This is going to be a short one. By nature of the episode, this has to be a short recap. This is the Purge Island 2 edition. Very dramatic way to say this is the elimination episode. This is when we find out who gets to stay in Island for part 2 and who goes home to try again. I want to say before getting into this one that I truly believe all the participants have a future in K-pop, but this just isn't the moment for everyone, and some of them were just never going to succeed on this show. It took about 5.5 minutes for the show to actually start, and even then we got an extra refresher of the girls already in Island, this being Jiyoon, Fuko, Jungin, Mai, whose post-performance review was finally partly revealed, and she was called the Impact Princess, Sebi, and Sarang. Songkang is in the military, so they pre-recorded the most basic announcements from him, and then we had the disembodied Metaball voice do the real-time announcements. We dive right in with 4 eliminations before finding out who made it. In 16th place is Oh Yuna. In 15th place is Kim Chaeun. In 14th place is Chae Sol. In 13th place is Ji-won. Now, at risk of sounding insensitive, I can't say people were too shocked about these eliminations. Despite being very talented girls, they were never really given the attention from Mnet for fans to grow attached to them. But they're all fairly young and they all have a lot of room to grow, and if they seek out new companies, I can definitely see fans of this show rooting for them long term. I know I'll be keeping an eye on Nugu Promoter for sure. Maybe they should look into companies the Kepler girls are in. The contract extension can only last so long. Now we get to move on to the survivors. The first survivor and rank number 4 goes to Kim Soo-jung. I'm not going to do that thing Mnet does where they list things that applied to multiple contestants. That was cruel. But they did say one of the candidates was in Whistle, so the Islanders named Soo-jung, Yui, and Min-sol as candidates and forgot about Jimin, but I guess they were expecting her to rank higher. In rank 3 and the second survivor is Nam Yoo-ju. This is not surprising. Her edit has been very favorable throughout and she has the talent to back it up. Her stint in Ground definitely had more people rooting for her, and I would personally put her down for a case study in how important a good edit is to garnering a supportive base. Our top 2 is between Bang Jimin, which not even the contestants found surprising, and Coco, who is kind of the dark horse of this vote. Expectedly, Jimin took first place by a margin. I mean this in the nicest way possible. I do think a lot of people were voting for her as a filler. It's just more strategic to give votes to someone who's near guaranteed when you need to fill a 6-person quota. It's going to be interesting to see how things change now that there's a few more popular candidates and less votes to go around per person. Coco, however, like I said, dark horse of this vote. She got basically negative amounts of screen time up until last episode, and I think that was her Hail Mary moment. She did get some spotlight in the review for the units and was of course the only member of the dance unit to remain in Island, but I think her saving grace was the edit last episode. It really showcased her talent, her dedication, and her ability to improve, which I think is key for a lot of the girls. We already knew she was a great dancer, but she showed such massive improvements in stage presence, interpretation, and most importantly in my opinion, vocals. I'm happy we get to see her keep improving. On the other hand, a funny note is you could actually hear the Islanders' cheers when she was announced. Now, unfortunately, there's only 2 more slots open. Our 5th rank is also a pleasant surprise. Son Ji-won has kind of the opposite arc to Nam Yoo-ju. She starts in Island and finishes in Ground. Although she hasn't gotten as much attention from Mnet as she deserves, I think she benefited from being sent to Ground right at the end. You got to see this girl, who was clearly incredibly talented, take a pretty undeserved fall right at the precipice of part 1. She got the attention in the nick of time, in my opinion, to boost her place as a filler vote. Not in the same way as Jimin though. Jimin was a safe filler. Ji-won was more of a might as well she deserves it filler. Again, I really hope nobody interprets my words maliciously. This is just an observation and not my personal feelings on the girls. Our final 3 candidates for the 6th and final spot are Park Yeon, Kim Gyuri, and Yui, who had at this point been teased for every single ranking, including the top 2 before it was narrowed. Understandably, Yui was absolutely devastated at this point, enough so to distract from the eliminations of Kim Min-sol and, shocker of the evening, Ling Ling. Yes, Ling Ling, who even the contestants were convinced would be in the top 2 ranks. Unfortunately, it is proven once again that a dedicated fanbase does not necessarily mean a larger one. I'm sad to see them both go. Min-sol I can definitely see debuting in the next year or 2, and she's versatile enough that I believe she'll excel no matter the concept. Ling Ling also has so much potential, and there's definitely room for her in K-pop. She stands out a lot, and I think she would be perfect in a group like Purple Kiss. Her lower range is so much more developed than her higher range, and I think that's the only thing that's been holding her back in this competition. She just needs a group more her pace and more her range. But out of the final 3, we meet another shock when Yeon is the first one out. She has the makings of a good idol, she just needs to refine her skills and get into a soft, elegant group. I think that would complement her. Now, perhaps the true upset of this episode was Yui not making it to part 2. It didn't really matter who got there over her, the upsetting part was that Yui isn't there. I think that's made fairly obvious by the fact that pretty much everyone was upset that her name was never called. It just so happens that her final chance was against Cutie that some of the disappointment over Yui not making it becomes disappointment that Cutie did. Now you guys know I have been rooting for both of them, and I did vote for both of them as a priority, but Cutie is in my top 3, so I would have personally been more upset to see her go. Her only problem is she was never let back into Island for narrative reasons. She was doomed to ground, which, we can admit this, became the Jiyoon show due to how little Mnet cared about everyone else there. But despite her low scores, she was still one of the original 5 eyes, and may I remind you, considered to be the number 1 rank in the entrance test. The girl has talent, she has natural charisma, she's incredibly sweet and caring, and despite the fact that she gets boxed into bright concepts by viewers, she has always delivered in stronger and darker concepts so far. And another reminder that she was only sent to ground in the first place because she got sick. I think this is almost the perfect top 12. The only person they're missing is Yui, and the person she would replace just wasn't on the ballot this time. But we will be seeing her again, I know that. To recap, our final top 12 consists of Fuko, Jiyoon, Sebi, Sarang, Jungin, Mai, Jimin, Coco, Yuju, Sujung, Juwon, and Gyuri. The end of the episode teases the Black Maid test and reveals somewhat the structure of part 2. Part 2 will consist of 3 performances, eliminations, and then the finale. Based on Island 1, the eliminations are per performance, meaning we should have a finale with 9 girls out of 12. This means the likelihood of having a 7-member final group is pretty high, but they only teased the final number and have yet to reveal it. The girls were shocked and said it was lower than they thought, so let's just all join hands and pray it's not 5. The preview shows Jimin vying for the center in Levy and Rose, alongside Fuko, Sarang, and Gyuri, as well as Jungin, Coco, Yuju, and Sebi preparing for Lovesick Girls, and Jiyoon, Juwon, Mai, and Sujung most likely preparing for 21's I'm the Best. They also show them reading some kind of review card, so it will be interesting to see what that's for. Personally, I think it's likely we'll see a bottom 3 consisting of the lowest ranked trainee per team, considering there's 3 teams. Given I have to work when the episode airs again, I will assume I can watch that episode on Friday at best, so no spoilers.